Hi, Shiraz Balolia, founder and CEO of Grizzly Industrial Inc. As you know, I tinker in my shop a little bit. I built guitars, I built different types of woodworking and metalworking projects. And this is one that I just completed. It's a bench made out of a solid block of walnut that I had, curly walnut. So it's got some fine trimmings of maple in between. I think it turned out quite nice. It's got a fine furniture finish, which is interesting compared to some of the other projects I've done. In this video, I'm going to go step by step as to how I built this bench. But first, let's go back and I'll tell you how this project came about to be. Many years ago, I used to build guitars as a hobby and ended up buying a whole bunch of wood that was really exotic, curly, real nice wood. And I had this slab that I bought about 20 years ago. It's a slab of curly, highly figured walnut, and you can see it's been kind of lined out for guitar, which I'm not going to make a guitar out of it. And it's been sitting around, and I thought, you know, I should do something with this. What are we going to do? So I said, how about a small bench, coffee table combination? But it's got this big gnarly knot in the right in here, so that doesn't leave us much room. If I were to make a bench, be about 12 inches wide, and wastage of really nice wood on this end. Looks like I'm gonna have to, you know, settle for a knot, but I'm going to fill this in with resin with some matching pigment, so it looks kind of similar to this wood. And this knot actually extends all the way through and goes to the other side. So I'll remove any excess little junk and then fill it in from both sides. So that's on the agenda now. What kind of a bench? You know, rectangular bench is boring, and you can see the grain on this is curving like this. So I'm thinking, how about a nice gentle curve like this? And then come around rounded corners like so, and go around rounded corners like that. So how do we get this curve? Well, I was looking around, I said I need to replicate something, and my son's desk is rounded, just a gentle curve. So he's here in the building, so we're gonna head over there and we're gonna take a template, we're gonna take a piece of plywood, clamp it on his desk, mess him up for a few minutes, and then draw a line, bandsaw it, and we'll have our template for this. So let's head on over to his office. Okay, we're coming into your office.
Oh, already? Okay.
Yeah. So this is his desk. This is my son Shabir's office, and as you can see, we have a really nice, gentle curve here, which we're going to replicate. So I'm going to take this piece of plywood, stick it underneath here, clamp it, and then draw a line. Somebody needs to pull on this. Okay, thanks. So that's solid. And all we're going to do is draw the line across. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, that's a real nice line there. So let's go take it to the bandsaw and bandsaw this off close enough, and then I'll sand it on the edge sander, clean it up. All right. Rough, but it's close to the line, and then I'll go to the edge sander and bring it to the line and clean it up. Let's just lay this on the piece of wood and see what it looks like. Just so we know what it's going to look like. Oh, that's a nice curve. And then I'm guesstimating where it's going to be. And then we go around that corner here, around this way, and around the corner this way, and around that way. And there'll be two legs. This will be a little more like this. There'll be two legs that slightly angled to follow the same edges here. So let's just, there's that knot again. I don't like it. Okay, and then underneath here, I'm going to do something trick. So you got two legs, but I want this bench to be like lifetime, you know, generations. So it's going to be built solid. So it's going to have, you know, a curved member joining it inside. So it'll be, that's going to be a trick like that to match this angle here. So I'll build a template and we'll laminate, we'll figure something out. That's what this project's going to look like. So, you know, it's time to fill these knots. And before we do that, I went ahead and trimmed it close to the edge where I had laid out my line, and I built a template. This is going to be the final shape of the table, and my goal is to attach this to the bottom and then run a flush trim either on the router, with a router, or on the shaper with an inverted bit. So I went ahead and trimmed that, and then got a nasty surprise. Remember this knot? And there was a little bit of what looked like a small knot on the end. Well, we got a big cavity here. Look at that. It's really nasty, and it goes all the way to the back. Well, I knew this was there, but I didn't know this was there. So, you know, we're gonna have to make lemonade out of a lemon. I don't want to trim the piece down and remove the knot. We're gonna fill this knot. So how to fill such a deep knot? We are going to use some interesting stuff. So I've got the epoxy filler here, and the small stuff I'm going to go ahead and fill in with that epoxy. And then for the big stuff, I have a piece of this wood that I'm going to put on the milling machine. I'm going to mill through it and collect some of the sawdust. And I'm going to mix that sawdust in with the epoxy to thicken it up a little bit and give it some of the same material in there. And that's what I'm going to use to fill these holes. So I'm going to go, it's going to be a three-part process. It just lengthens the whole process, but we're going to do it. Let's go to the mill and gather some sawdust. We'll come back and finish this process here. So we're going to go ahead and fire up and create some lovely filler wood. Oh yeah, we got plenty here. All right, let's go back to the project. So we got some fine cracks here that we're going to use the epoxy, direct epoxy, and then on the deep cracks and deep holes, basically, we're going to mix in the walnut chips that we got from the milling machine and fill this all up. Once we're done with this, we're going to go to the back side and then we're going to go do the side. Now what I have here is I've got a hazelnut tint, which is, you know, it's pretty close to the wood grains in here. It's a little dark and you don't want to use too much of it, so we'll mix this in with the epoxy to give it a darker color. Epoxy is equal parts. I'm using thick set because we got some deep holes to fill. I'm going to go 3 ounces because that might not be enough. Oh yeah, and then 3 ounces of this. So here we mix it. Good mix. It needs to be mixed really, really well. And now I'm going to take some of this tint and put it in there, see what it does. Oh yeah, see, it completely changed that. So a little bit goes a long ways. Let's put some of this on. Yeah, it matches pretty good. I like it. I'm putting excess on, so if it's a little dries a little taller, it's no problem because I'm going to plane it on the planer after it's dry. So I've got everything except the big holes here And I'm gonna now mix in some of this stuff here. See, it becomes real thick at this point. Looks delicious. And we shall begin. Let me get the heat gun and we can go over this with the heat gun. You don't want a really high heat on this, just a little bit. Be gentle with it. Don't stop in any one spot for any length of time. You can see all the bubbles are popping. It looks like that big void is going through and there's a little bit leaking out the side here, but that's not enough for it to drain it. Alrighty, let's go over to the jointer and work on the lamination pieces that I'm going to be doing. I found a really nice spalted curly maple that I've been hoarding for years, and about 20 years. And it's really nice wood. You can see the figure here, the spalt. That's gonna be, I'm gonna joint it, flatten it, and then I'm gonna resaw it into thin slices so I can bend it and laminate it at that curve. And then this here is gonna be used for the legs. And basically it's the same tree. So let's take these little pieces to the jointer and get them ready for resawing. Perfect 90 degrees. So now I can take this to the table saw, trim just a hair over 5 inches. Five and an eighth. Okay, perfect. That's where we want it to be. Okay, so we're gonna resaw these pieces, these little slices on the resaw bandsaw, and then I'm gonna take those little pieces, I'm gonna run them through the white belt center so they're all even and gluable on both sides. So the trick with this is that you need to have sideways pressure and go real slow when you're resawing. If you try to go fast, no matter what you got here, you'll have uneven pieces. That's pretty nice. It came out pretty good. Got 5 slices out of this one piece, which is pretty good. Okay, so I made this jig up. Basically, it's pieces of 3/4 plywood, and I traced the shape of the table. And this, remember, this is for the rafter that's going to go in between the 2 legs, and it's going to be an upright rafter, so it's going to bend like this to follow the contour of the upper. It's going to be really nice. So the plan is that we're going to use this as a jig for the vacuum jig here, and I'll be layering epoxy between each layer, then keep adding them like that, and then when you put them in the vacuum jig, it'll suck them all together, and that's the shape that will come out as. So today is a big day. We're gonna do some lamination with the vacuum press here. We've got our pieces ready. We'll go there in a second, but I wanted to talk to you about this big vacuum bag that we have. As you can see, you've got a board at the bottom, and I've cut slots in there in both directions, this way and that way, so there's a lot of airflow. This here is going to go into the bottom, and when I turn the vacuum press on, the reason for the slots is you get suction everywhere, not just in one area where the vacuum is. So that's very important. So if you're going to buy a vacuum bag system, you need to make one of these, and you need to cut slots in the back with your table saw and a dado jig. Okay, so I'm going to get this ready, and then we're going to go over there and figure out. I've got all the sides done. I put ledges on because when the vacuum press is down, I don't want these things shifting around. I'd like to keep the maximum width. This top piece is actually a flexible piece of plywood. You can buy these and use it for the top on any curvature lamination that you're doing. So there's a whole bunch of pieces, so we'll be doing a lot of epoxying between pieces, and then we'll vacuum it up and see what happens. Just like that. Put the cover on and fire it up. You can see that if I didn't have those supports on the sides, on the edges there, it would be sliding around and it would be a total mess. The moment of truth. All right, we'll let this sit overnight and come back tomorrow and see what it looks like. So as you recall, there were the gigantic defects and knot holes in here on both sides and the edge as well, and we filled it in with epoxy. And so I'm going to show you what that looks like right now. I think it turned out pretty good. There's this one side. There might be some minor blowholes which we will fix when we're finishing. This is the edge. I've not gone through with the router yet, so that we don't know what this is going to look like. If there's any holes in this, we will fill them after the fact. And then this is the other side, the back side. Again, there might be some tiny holes that will get filled up when we do the finishing. So the goal today is to take this guy and double-sided tape it onto this so we can run it on the router with the router bits, flush trim router bit that I've got, and clean it up to its final dimension. Let's tape it up for double-sided tape. Now, when we're taping, there are some materials that you'll find that are porous and the tape doesn't want to stick very well. Sometimes you have to use masking tape for that. So you use the masking tape, and then on top of that put your double-sided tape. So that's a little trick that I've learned over the years. We're going to go ahead and do that on this guy. It looks a little porous, and we'll see. We'll give it the pressure test after we're done. So alrighty, it all looks good. Now this is banner tape that I've got. It's 1 3/4 inches or so, and really, really good tape. Alrighty, this is where you cannot make any mistakes, because once it sticks, it's going to be quite a job to unstick it. Make sure this is completely clean, free of any sawdust or anything. I've already blown it up with air, so I've marked it. 2 corners. And that's it. Point of no return. I'm going to use a dead blow hammer as well. Alrighty, let's take you to the shaper where I have a router bit in there, insert router bit, and we can trim the edge off. So I've got a real nice insert type flush trim cutter with a bearing on top that is going to ride along the surface here. You don't have to have such a fancy cutter. You can have a normal flush trim cutter like this guy right here, you know, that'll do the same thing. You can get them with bearings on top. So I just have this nice cutter. I'm going to use it. I've not used it before, so it should be fun. The goal is for this guy to run along here, and the cut will be just exactly running along the template. So let's get going. Okay, so we've made the initial pass. I say initial because I'm gonna just make another pass. I'm gonna raise the cutter a little bit more. I'm gonna take another final cleanup pass, which won't have much to remove, but if there's any ridges or anything that I missed, I think the fill on the side turned out pretty good. There's a little blowhole here that I'll just fix that. It's not a big deal. I think it turned out very good. I can smell the walnut. It's intense smell of walnut. Beauty. Looks great. Now let's pry this off. Sometimes the banner tape is really hard to get off. This could be interesting. So let's see if we can find a little gap somewhere. Okay, this is a Shopfox scraper blade. If I can get it in and get it started, it'll be pretty good. Sometimes this is the hardest part of the project. You want to play hardball? I'll play hardball with you. Okay. Yes. And a nice sliver in my finger. It's all right. That's plenty of those. See, the tape comes off pretty easy. There's the finished top. When I go to finishing this, I'm going to be using wet and dry pepper with oil, and it'll pick up the sawdust and it'll fill all these little pores in, and it'll fill any other tiny little porous areas. I'm going to give it the fine furniture finish on this guy because it deserves it. And when you see this figure come out, let's see if we can give you a little sampling. This is just NAFTA, and it dissipates, but gives you an idea what that figure is going to be like. You see that curl in there? It's just killer. Of course, it'll be nice and shiny when I put the oil on it, but that's a beautiful piece. Let's see what it does here. Yeah, it's going to finish very nicely. I like it.